you unsure what your retirement will look like in the next 20 to 30 years into your retirement? Or have you been told that you do not need guaranteed income and that taking income through your investments is good enough?
Are you looking into an annuity and heard by advisors and saying, don't be fooled by the guarantees, and saying, all you have to do during a recession is to just buckle up and ride the roller coaster? Well, if so, then fasten your seatbelt as we will dive deep into one of the most debated topics. Which is better, guaranteed income like pensions, annuities, and pension hybrids, or investment income such as stocks, bonds, and dividends?
In comparing the two strategies, we will be discussing two important secrets to recession-proof your retirement and never be without income. First, we will show what the 4% to 5% rule is and why that does not guarantee income for life. Second, you will learn how holding tight and riding the roller coaster during a recession works well while you're working, but how it completely changes during 3 phases in your retirement years. During those 3 phases, you will be forced, yes, have no choice but to sell on a loss each year during the recession and while the market is still trying to recover. By watching our videos, you will have a better understanding of whether or not guaranteed lifetime income should or should not be part of your portfolio. Hi, I'm Ann.
And I'm Kai.
And here, this is Gracie. We call her our retirement puppy, and you'll be seeing her cute little face throughout all of our videos. Now, before we go too deep, we need to be clear. First, we do believe in all sorts of income for retirement. We ourselves have all types of investments like stocks, cryptos, options, and rentals. But if you watched part 1 of this series, you learned why hybrid pensions should be part of your investment portfolios.
We'll also leave a link in the description below.
Today, as promised, our focus is specifically on guaranteed income versus investment income and what your portfolio would look like after 20 years or so in retirement. Let's first discuss what the 4% and 5% rule is. Simply put, you do your best to not take more than 4 to 5% of your investments so that you allow your investments to grow while giving yourself income. By following this rule, you should have enough income and even enough assets to pass down as a legacy. Ken Fisher calls this your homegrown dividends. Some follow this rule and have done just fine, while others are stressed out and have even depleted their assets because of this rule. How is that possible?
Well, let's take a look at the S&P from 1989. Why those years? Not only did it include the nice bull run, but also some corrections, market crashes, and the Great Recession that many of us lived through.
Right.
You will see 5 negative returns. 1990, negative 3%. 2001 to 2003, negative 9, negative 11, negative 22%. And then the Great Recession, negative 37%. Even with all those negative returns, the overall average return was 10.37% per year. Here's the honest fact. If you're not taking withdrawals, which many of us do not need while we're working, then yes, your investments will most likely be fine. However, this suggestion to just ride the roller coaster may or may not work when you have no choice to take withdrawals.
Let's illustrate it with what's called the sequence of returns risk. Let's take a look at the S&P again from 1989. We have 2 individuals, Susan and Joe. For equal comparison, they are the same age, 65 years old, and all aspects of their portfolio and retirement plan are exactly the same. They both started with a principal of $500,000. They both use the 4% withdrawal rule for income, with an assumed inflation at 3.5%. And both started income at 66 years old. Remember, the end result after 20 years was 10.37%. Let's first look at Susan. Even with the 4 corrections, bear markets, and the Great Recession, Susan was just fine. At age 85 years old, 20 years later, she went from $500,000 to $1.7 million.
Wow.
Your current financial advisor perhaps showed you something similar as to why you do not need guaranteed income. So are people correct in saying investment income is better than guaranteed income?
Well, let's see if riding the roller coaster worked with Joe. First, look at his end result after 20 years. Remember, they took exactly the same income. They started with exactly the same amount of money, $500,000. They invested in exactly the same S&P index from 1989. Their ending average was exactly the same, 10.37%. How then did Joe end up with only $362,000? While Susan is sipping her Mai Tai in Hawaii with over $1.7 million. Well, this is why we call this the sequence of returns risk. If all we do is flip the sequence of returns, in other words, we take the years 1989 and go backwards, we see this happen to Joe. Let's zoom in and see what happened. Notice first, even with the sequence reversed, the average return of 10.37% remained the same. However, while taking income, Joe got hit with the Great Recession, then again in 2003, 2002, 2001, and finally 1990. Notice he never recovered. And at one point of his life, at 74 years old, he had less than $172,000 left in his portfolio. The market roared back with a nice bull run, but his portfolio never did. How would you feel if this was you?
Here's the key point. No matter whether you're Susan or Joe, no matter how you have the sequence of returns, if you do not touch it, then the average percentage stays exactly the same.
Now remember though, we are not talking about people that do not need the income. Those are situations where you can ride out the roller coaster. Both Susan and Joe have no choice but to take the 4% in order to survive and have their lifestyle.
So Joe unfortunately got hit with the Great Recession in his early years of withdrawals. He cannot simply stop taking the withdrawals since he has to pay his bills. He can't just ride the roller coaster either. Joe's portfolio never had a chance to grow and get stronger like Susan's. He was unfortunate and got hit with the recession early, and this lowered his balance significantly. Joe had to climb out of a $295,000 hole and never got out.
Here's another quick example to illustrate working years versus retirement years. Think of your two arms like having two sources of income. Let's call your right arm your salary or guaranteed income arm. Your other arm, let's call this your investment arm. Now, both arms are doing well, but one day you retire. You lose your salary and are only living on Social Security income. So your right arm shrunk so much that you look like a T-Rex. Now, I know I look silly, but if that happens, what arm are you forced to use? Well, thank goodness you saved and invested all those years, right? So you start using your left arm, but soon after you injured your left arm. Your doctor said to not touch it. Don't even look at it. Well, what would you say to your doctor? Yes, how? How can I not use my investment arm? I can no longer depend on my small Social Security T-Rex arm. I'm no longer working. I have no choice but to use my left arm. Now, what would happen if you kept using the arm that was injured? Yes, it might never heal. And if it does, it may not heal correctly.
So the advice that you might hear to ride the wave does not always apply, especially if you have no choice since you're retired and you need to pay your bills.
Now you might be thinking in the last 20 to 40 years, you chose to ride out 2 or maybe 3 recessions and you are glad that you did. But why did you have a choice to ride it out? Yes, you had another strong arm called your salary or guaranteed income. Even if it took 3 to 5 years to recover, you had your salary paying the bills.
In what possible scenarios will we be forced to touch our money nonstop each year? First, full retirement. Now this one you might have a choice to not touch your money during a recession. But what if you want to keep the same lifestyle? Ask yourself, do I really want to change my lifestyle or tell my family we need to uproot our whole life and move because we can no longer afford where we live? Do I really want to lower my lifestyle just because I depended on investments and there was a market crash?
Second, required minimum distributions or RMDs. Now, can you tell the IRS, sorry, I'm not going to take my RMDs at 72.5 and each year thereafter until my money recovers from the market crash because my advisor told me not to touch it.
Third, long-term care. Can you tell your home care provider or assisted living facility, I'm sorry, but I was told to ride the roller coaster and I'm not supposed to withdraw any money from my investments. I'll keep a track of all my IOUs and pay everything in a few years.
So for your next 20 to 30 years in your retirement, will you not most likely have another 2 to 3 more recessions to ride out? Will you really have a choice not to touch your investments during those years? The point is, if you do not touch your money in a recession, you most likely will recover well. If you're forced to touch the money in a recession, then there is a potential problem and you might never recover.
The only retirees that can most likely not get hurt during the recession years and can choose not to touch your investments are our teachers, state and government retirees, and union workers. What do they all have in common?
You guessed it, a pension. An income that is guaranteed for life in writing. Their right arm, their salary arm, did not shrink, rather it was replaced by their pension.
So ask yourself, how can this really be such a bad idea in retirement? Do these retirees regret they chose a career with a pension rather than a 401k?
We have yet to meet one. Usually it's the other way around. 401k retirees are envious of those who have a pension. If you add a pension hybrid to your portfolio, you can also replace most, if not all, of your working salary as well.
The last variable that is usually not discussed is the emotional and physical stress recessions can cause. With the lack of a pension, many people cannot afford the right health care in retirement. We have many Medicare clients that choose the cheapest Medicare Advantage plan instead of a Medicare supplement, not because they want to, but because they only have Social Security and are trying to stretch their 401k so they don't run out.
The point is simple. Yes, you can live off of your 401k or IRA. Yes, you can use the 4% or 5% rule. But now ask yourself, how clear does my retirement look in my 80s or 90s? Will my advisor put in writing and guarantee that I'll never run out of my money with this 4 to 5% rule? These rules may or may not work. If you're Susan in the example earlier, it can work. If you're Joe, the answer is maybe not.
So here's the million-dollar question. Will you be Susan or Joe? No one knows. No advisor knows either, and they will never put in writing that they can guarantee you the same lifestyle you have in retirement. Not even in real estate will they put that in writing. Only an insurance contract can.
There are only 3 guaranteed lifetime incomes in writing: your Social Security, traditional annuity or pension, again, those are annuities, and a hybrid pension. They are all insurance guarantees, not investment vehicles. Therefore, your income to sustain your lifestyle is guaranteed in writing. Right, you might be a savvy investor like Warren Buffett or Dave Ramsey. You might be the type to wake up extremely excited to just study the market. If that's the case, guaranteed income might not be for you. If your primary concern is growth and not income, then investments might be a better choice. Our goal is not to dive so deep into the weeds and fight. We just want to simply show you that one is not better than the other.
Yes, we are focusing on one key phrase: guarantee in writing. Do you want your lifestyle to be guaranteed in writing? Then why not guarantee it just like the past years while you were working? In retirement, however, would you rather be on the beach or on a golf course and not have to always talk about how your investments are doing?
For sure.
Investments can never be recession-proof, stress-free, and lifestyle-proof. Are we saying that guaranteed income is recession-proof, stress-free, and lifestyle-proof? Yes. Just ask all your friends that are retired as a teacher or a government worker. We know Social Security is in trouble, and with a traditional annuity or pension, you hope the company will still be here. But that's why they created these pension hybrids over 30 years ago.
Think about all the hybrids out there. Our mobile phone versus corded landline, our tablets versus huge desktop computers, a hybrid car even. Yes, so why not add a hybrid pension to your portfolio?
A word of caution. There are many hybrid variations out there, many with high fees, long surrender periods, high surrender charges, and some your principal is still at risk. Since we started our business in 2005, we have seen too many slimy insurance salespeople not disclosing all the facts.
We also know that financial advisors and broker-dealers like to put the fear of God in you by stretching the truth and using words such as scam, don't be fooled, hate, bad idea, huge fees or surrender charges. Why the exaggeration? Why do advisors not discuss hybrid pensions where you have guaranteed income and still have total control over your assets?
We'll be making a video regarding sales pitches on both sides, so look out for that.
We are here to break through all those sales pitches and gimmicks.
And we do not pretend to be a stockbroker. We do not sell investments that involves risks. Regarding fees, we only recommend plans that typically have only 1% and in many cases have no fees at all.
Right, just like the plans that we own.
Right, and we do not charge a consultation fee either. We get paid by the insurance company just like all insurance policies.
Our goal is simple. Add to your investments, not replace them, with a guaranteed income for life in writing, while guaranteeing your principal using a hybrid pension. If you are unclear on what a hybrid pension is, please click on this other link in the description below.
We want you to keep your financial advisor for your investments that involves risks. We are simply here to be your independent retirement advisor for guaranteed principal and income through your insurance companies. So remember this sign, goodbye tension.
And hello pension, or we'd rather say hybrid pensions.
So how about you? Do you prefer to just be all in the market, or would you rather have a portion of your money as guaranteed lifetime income? Please leave your comments below. Our goal is not to debate, rather to show the transparency of both sides. We feel that in this financial field, there shouldn't be a boxing match between the two. They should complement each other. This is why we created these videos.
We hope you enjoyed our transparent education, and if so, please help us grow our channel by clicking the like button below, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss out on our future videos on guaranteed income and healthcare planning. Yes, since knowledge is power, please remember to share this video as well.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next time.
Bye.